I'm 55 and just learned I'm an introvert. And suddenly, my whole life makes sense. The exhaustion, the hiding away, the having to reset and recharge and recalibrate, building a thriving business that was built on connection and community. And I did that for 15 years, stood in front of a room and anywhere from 15 to 70 people. And after 15 years, I had to close it. And now that I know that I'm an introvert, it it makes so much sense. So we're going to get into it. So here's something that nobody ever told me. I always considered introverts to be shy. And I'm not shy. I can take up space in a room. I speak clearly, I speak boldly, I speak concisely. I am not a wallflower. And the funny thing is, this all happened because my husband and I were chatting one day in the car. And he's been a sales guy his whole life, and he's super charismatic. This colleague had said to him that introverts always make the best salespeople. And he said to me, I don't know why he said that to me. It just doesn't make sense. Why would he just say that? And so we both were like, because he doesn't come off as an introvert. And what we thought an introvert was, at least. And so, for 24, 48 hours, a couple days, whatever, I kind of just sat in my head like, introvert. He's not an introvert. And so I just did a little research. And quite honestly, I went into AI and I was like, what's the difference between an introvert and an extrovert? And it summarized it up pretty quickly and pretty concisely. And it said an extrovert gets fueled and energized from social activity. That's how they recharge, through other people. And an introvert refuels and recharges from being alone or being in solitude. And it clicked. It clicked suddenly because after any event or any working life, so to speak, like I ran a business. And so over the course of a week, I would interact with hundreds of people. And I would lead people and try to motivate people. And it was this always giving and leading and directing and getting people to move and breathe and think and connect. And it was always me pouring out energy. I wasn't being refueled by it. And so on my days off, I was exhausted, like pajamas, not doing anything, totally shutting the phone off, um, just worn down and just dropping. Like in one of my previous videos on exhaustion, I'd been exhausted for so long, and I had said that rest for me was just dropping. It wasn't rest, it was depletion. And I couldn't get recharged because I was constantly on all the time. And, I went back to my husband and I said, this is what AI said about an introvert and an extrovert. And he started thinking about it. And he's like, I think I'm an introvert because after being with people, he's in charge of hundreds of people that work underneath him. He was in sales prior to that. So he's always around people and always interacting with people. And, when he comes home, he's depleted, he's exhausted. And on his days off, he doesn't really want to interact with other people. And we always thought, oh, maybe that's because we're around people so much all the time. And secretly, I thought, there must be something wrong with me. Like, why am I so exhausted and so just don't want to be bothered with anybody? I want to be alone. And he's the same way. So we're two introverts who have built lives for an extrovert. And all these years, we've been feeling really bad about ourselves, like, we were hermits or something. And really what it was is we're like two fish in the ocean, but we're freshwater fish, and we need to go into the fresh water to recharge and to live and to feel good, right? It's not that there's something wrong with us. We're just wired differently than the lives we've built for ourselves. And for 15, 20 years, my life was leading groups and working with people one-on-one and training people. And his was going out into the world and connecting with people and guiding them to the right products, and then leading teams and building teams. And we would both come home and just want to be left alone. Anytime we would get an invitation to something, we were like, oh God, no, no. So I thought that was really interesting. And I'm wondering, does that resonate with anybody else? Because how do I get to be 55 years old and not realize that I'm an introvert? And here I am, happy as a clam, home, on my couch with all my blankets and my pillows, and I love it. I love it. I have no desire to go out into the world and have these adventures with other people. Like, I'm home and I love being home. And not that I don't ever want to go out and do things. It's just, I now know that when I have an activity, so recently was July 4th and we had a bunch of people over, and I didn't stress about it like I used to. I was like, you know what? If we burn the hot dogs, we burn the hot dogs. If the spread isn't absolutely perfect, don't care. Don't care. But I also knew leading into this that I would be on all day because my house would be filled with people. Of course, it would be like my kids and close family, and I don't need to put on airs or anything like that. And I think I'm so far beyond that at this point in my life. But still, you have people over. And I knew, knowing this now about myself, that I would need time afterwards to recharge, quiet time built into my schedule. And now that I know that I'm an introvert, I don't need to feel bad about it because that's how I'm wired. And I'm not going to, be off in some corner shy, not talking to people, reading a book and not participating in life. I will still go on about my life. I will still be this strong personality that when I walk into a room, my presence is known. I speak from my diaphragm from years of leading a room full of people. I never used microphones. I spoke and projected my voice, and to this day I do. I don't know how to speak quietly. Um, but now I know how how to expect that I need to recharge. Because when I look back at my life, anytime I've done an event, had to go to a wedding, or there was some kind of birthday party or holiday or anything that involved a lot of people, I look back and I remember like the day after, just leave me alone. Don't talk to me. Don't call me. Don't pop by. My husband knows, and He's like, you need your time. And I always thought it was because I was an only child. And I didn't have any siblings growing up. And so I was used to being alone. And I just figured it was that. Maybe that is part of the reason. But really, I'm an introvert. So does that resonate with you? Do you find that after you have some kind of event where there's a lot of people around, that you have to take some quiet time for yourself after that to recalibrate and recharge and refuel like an electric device you have to plug into the wall? For me, plugging in is being quiet and being alone and being home. And that's how I recharge. And now I just know whenever there's a holiday or a cookout or an event we have to go to, I need to build that recharge into my calendar. And I now know that I'm not an asshole. That it's not that I don't like people, I love people. I am just a freshwater fish and I'm swimming in the ocean. And that's okay. I just need to go back to the fresh water. So we're two introverts that found each other that are leading extrovert lives. Ah, yeah, that's what it is. So if you thought that you were an extrovert because of the job that you had or because you have an active life, but you find that you need to recharge, and on those recharge days, you really need to be left alone, you may be an introvert. And if you suspect that you are an introvert, you probably are. Um, and it's worthwhile looking at your schedule and perhaps building in those recharge days. I know if I don't build those in, I burn out really quickly. And I think back now that I just said that, I'm like, oh gosh, all those years where I pushed, burnt the candle at both ends and overworked and overcommitted myself. I was doing myself no favors. It all tracks now. It all tracks. So leave a comment because I just find it amazing that I didn't know this. I didn't know it. It's so simple. And yet here I am, 55 years old, just figuring it out. And it just goes to show we're all just learning. We're all learning every single day. And just recently, I learned something new about myself. So leave me a comment if this tracks with you or if you just find it funny, because I find it hilarious. Some things just all come together when you least expect it. So anyway, to my fellow introverts, I see you. To my extroverts, please understand and take the time you need for yourself. Whatever recharges you, go do it.